How can we take back control if we never have self-control or personal accountability? Calling all ambitious women who are ready to rock the rest of 2019 and 2020. Okay, ladies, this is the official call. We are officially in the enrollment period for Soul Elite. You might be wondering, what the heck is Soul Elite and how is it different from the other experiences you offer, Heather? Well, great question. So Soul Elite is a 12-month mastermind experience for the ambitious, successful go-getter. You are craving community, you are craving connection, you are craving sustainability and impact. You want to get to a place in your life where there's just something deep inside of your soul that wants to be expressed. And you also want to surround yourself with like-minded women who are on the same level. So these are the CEOs, these are the executive women, these are the entrepreneurs, these are the ones who have already seen traditional success in their life, but they're just looking for that deeper connection. It involves retreats. It involves one-on-one coaching with me. We also have a team of game-changing other professionals and coaches who will be connecting with us in the next 12 months. Plus, you're walking through this experience with other like-minded women who are ready to pull back the curtains, show you how they got successful, share their amazing resources with you, and get vulnerable. So, this is an elite group of ladies, hence the reason why it's called Soul Elite. And I am so excited. We already have about 6 people inside. It's also an intimate group. And I'm just really excited to learn and connect with more of you. So head on over to heatherchauvin.com/Soul Elite. All you have to do is fill out the application, and then I will personally read it and be in touch. If I don't think you're a good fit, that's okay. I will point you in the right direction, whether it's another program that I offer or if there's somebody else that I know that can be a good fit for you. So 2019-2020 Soul Elite Experience is now open for enrollment. And when you apply before September 15th, you get added bonuses and discounts. So again, head on over to heatherchauvin.com/Soul Elite and fill out your application today. Hey ladies, so today I want to talk about something that I don't really have an answer for. I have my own personal stories and client stories, but today's more about a discussion on self-accountability. So a lot of times when I'm working with people, not even when I'm working with them, before working with me, there's an application process when you go through my mastery program and when you become a Soul Elite client. It's just 2 different levels of leadership and personal development. And oftentimes when I'm talking to people, I'll say, why are you here? What do you want? And they're like, I want somebody to kick my ass. I want someone to hold me accountable to taking the action that I want to take. And, sometimes I ask more exploratory questions of what does accountability look like for you? And sometimes they're not really asking for accountability. They're just looking for a community and support and a container of space where they can have these conversations and there's people surrounding them that will hold them accountable to their greatest vision. An example of that would be, when you have higher standards with your friends and they come over and you're like, oh, I don't have time to do this. And I can't afford it or blah, blah, blah. And they're calling you out on their bullshit. They're like, well, I keep hearing you say that you want to do this and you can't afford it, but you just spent X amount of money on those new shoes. Or, you spend $5 a day on a latte. If you cut that out, you would be able to afford this. Like, what's really going on here? Because the truth is, accountability is kind of I want to say it's an excuse for why we're not living our best life or why we're not our best selves. And this shit is hard. But what I often find is when we're digging underneath why you're not taking the action that you're truly taking, it's because of resistance and understanding and learning our relationship to resistance and the importance of understanding that resistance is going to be a part of your growth process. And depending on where you are in your level of growth, it's your relationship to resistance that is going to pretty much dictate your success. So let me give you some examples. At the beginning of this podcast, when I said taking back control, oftentimes when we do not feel in control of our lives, and just take any area of your life. So it could be money, it could be parenting, it could be relationships, it could be your time, it could be your energy. When we don't feel in control of some aspect of our life, we start to control outward. So if we're not controlling inward, we're controlling outward. So if I don't have control over my big emotions, if I don't have control over my anger or my anxiety, I'm going to try to control other people's anger and anxiety, meaning I'm going to feel incredibly uncomfortable with their big emotions, and I'm going to try to fix them, or I'm going to try to calm them down a little bit. So example, if I'm anxious and I don't feel in control of my anxiety and my child is anxious, I'm going to try to make their life as easy as possible so that they never experience anxiety, because I don't want them to feel out of control like I do. So this was my problem when I started my business. I was a social worker and I did not understand emotional intelligence, and I was trying to control my son's anger and anxiety because I didn't understand how to control my own. Money. If I don't know how to manage money and I feel out of control with my money, I actually might spend more of it because I can control spending. I can say, oh, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that. Like, that's something that I'm controlling, right? I'm going to go, spend $100 here, spend $100 there. That is something that I can control. Even though it's not healthy, it's something that I can control. If I feel out of control with my weight and I don't know how to manage my weight through nutrition, I might actually overeat because I could put more food in my mouth. That's something that I can control. If I feel out of control in my relationships, I'm going to try to manipulate those relationships and control them. So I might say to my husband, if I feel like our marriage is falling apart, I might blame him for some of my inaction and just doing that to try to manipulate and control him. But here's the conversation. How do we feel in control of our lives when we don't have self-accountability? So there's a difference between having an accountability partner, having somebody who's going to hold you accountable, and then having like somebody who is literally going to kick your ass and beat the crap out of you if you don't take action. So old Heather, who really enjoyed beating herself up, really enjoyed beating myself up. If I never had this type of coach, but I see oftentimes this happens in the fitness industry. I've seen it in personal development too, but in the fitness industry where they're like, come on, let's go, and hustle, and give me 5 more, and if you talk to me like that, you got to drop and do 20. It's manipulation. Like, I get it. There's a purpose for it. It probably develops mental strength, but I feel like it's borderline abusive. So let's just say you have this strict, and I see parenting this way too, like old traditional parenting where people are very much like this with their kids, and it's a fear tactic, right? So that person is only taking action out of fear. That person is like, shit, if I don't do 100 burpees, this person is going to kick my ass, right? They're going to make me do 200 burpees, or they're going to whatever. Or a child, oh my gosh, if I don't do it exactly like mom and dad want, they're going to take my cell phone away and they're going to yell and scream at me. So I better do it because I'm scared. That's not accountability. That's borderline abuse and manipulation. So, and that person, the second you remove yourself from that situation, they're never going to take that action. So, and of course, I'm not talking about children needing self-accountability. Let's just be honest. They're pretty much not going to do that at a young age. But let me go back to the fitness example. If you remove yourself from that situation, if you remove that very intense accountability coach who is very dominant and aggressive, you're actually not going to take action. And it's not sustainable. What happens when you travel and your coach isn't there? What happens when you end your contract at that gym or with that personal trainer? You're never going to work out again. So this is why I'm very leery when people say to me, I'm looking for accountability. And I always reply with, I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm going to care about you. I'm going to see where you're at. I'm going to make sure you're engaged, but I can't do the work for you. And also, when you're making a financial commitment that probably might scare the shit out of you or make you want to puke in your mouth a little bit or shit your pants, that should hold you accountable enough to doing the work. But if it doesn't, you have to ask yourself why. You have to ask yourself why you are not willing to hold yourself accountable to doing the work that you need to do to get the results that you desire in your life. And it's very easy. And of course, there's different levels of this, right? So you start with small accountability and you work your way up. When I first started my personal development process, I've always had mentors. I've always chronically reinvested in new skills and education. And most have been beneficial to me because I read people really well and it always felt like a good fit. So I trusted the process and went through it. But every time I up-leveled, it was like, okay, now I need the next level of accountability. Now I need the next level in accountability. So at once, investing $100 a month in myself felt terrifying. And then it went to $500 a month and then like $5,000 a month and then like, $30,000 a year or whatever it is. And of course, it just all depends on where you're at in your personal and professional development, but you have to get to new levels of accountability. And I personally know that if I put a monetary value behind something that makes me uncomfortable, that is going to hold me more accountable to doing the work. And it's not that I'm self-motivated, because people say, oh, how do you get motivated to do the work when you don't want to do it? It's that I have a very strong why statement. I have a very strong reason behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. And sometimes it changes a little bit, but I am personally extremely motivated to overcome so much in this lifetime so that my children can pass the baton and take their generation and their children's generation to the next level. Some people, that is not their why statement, but for some reason, that's what got me off the couch. That's what got me motivated. And at first, I was just terrified of dying. Like, that was my thing. And I don't mean when I got cancer. There was years before that when I was mentally not well and suicidal at one point. And I really just I was scared. I was scared of why I was having those thoughts. And I really didn't understand how to get out of that. So I just did everything in my power to move through it. So my why was motivated by fear, and now it's motivated by passion. But self-accountability is something that you as an individual need to take personal responsibility for, even if it's 5% at this point, because you can never take back control of your life fully if you're always seeking outside approval and validation for your actions. So I want you to take that into consideration when you're hiring mentors or when you're hiring personal development coaches or fitness coaches, because yes, they might get you results, but you're always going to have this feeling inside of you that you're not enough or that you're not complete or fulfilled. Even if you're like, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to make X amount of dollars or, get me to a point where I see this in parenting all the time. I don't want to yell at anymore. And then, you actually achieve that, but you're like, I'm not yelling, but I'm angry inside. And I'm just not yelling because I'm keeping my mouth shut. It's like you have to do the inner work and have that self-accountability to know that it's going to motivate you to see results. So ask yourself, how am I outwardly trying to control my environment because I'm not doing the inner work to feel in control of my life? And what is your relationship with resistance? What is your relationship with resistance? Ask yourself. And if you saw value in this, let me know. Send me a message at Instagram at Mamas in Control or email us at support@heatherchauvin.com.